This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Maastricht edition live on Facebook Live. Tonight, we will be joined by Damir from the Museum of Illusions in Maastricht, and of course, we'll have our usual fun of games. Maybe Sinterklaas will make an appearance, who knows? So stay tuned, everyone, and join us in just a second.
Yay! Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Maastricht edition. Here we are again, and we're a little bit festive this evening. We're starting because we're in December now. Yes.
Yeah. Already, we've got a tree.
It's the 3rd of December. Look at our Tracy. She's got a Christmas hat on. Matt's got his tree behind him. Tracy's got something. What are those, Tracy?
I would call it a lighted garland.
Oh.
Okay. Is it fluffy?
It's quite fluffy. They're little flowers, you see. But I'm not going to wear them because I do fear they might ignite. So you never know. Safety first, people, if you're watching. Safety first. But we have these nice lights. And indeed, it's December and we're in the festive groove.
Fantastic. Yes, we are. It's. I think it seems to me that this year that people are starting to celebrate a little bit earlier, and that's understandable, really, isn't it?
Indeedy. Of course they are.
When did you put your tree up, Matt?
Exactly. I got the tree up, but I learned actually you're not supposed to put the tree up until after Sinterklaas on Monday. So sorry, everyone. I wanted it now. So it's here to lighten up these dark days we have at the moment.
Well, I think Go on, Joe.
No, I was just going to say, having popped out on a couple of occasions to get takeaway on these dark evenings, I have noticed that not everybody is following that rule, Matt, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Indeed. And I think depending what country you come from, there's different kind of rules around when you can and can't put up your tree. I think for the UK and Ireland, it's basically as of December, really.
I think traditionally, it's like 12 days before.
Yes. Yes, and many places it's on Christmas Eve itself when they put up the tree, which seems very late to me. I know. It's like, oh my God.
Well, Christmas has come early this year, which is fine. We're going to get more and more festive as the weeks go on. We've only got 3 weeks to go, and then it's Christmas. And also, we've only got 3 weeks to go till we get to the shortest day of the year, and then that's it. Spring's round the corner, so it's not long, really. It's fine.
We're over the worst of it.
Yes. Although I did see that there may be some snow coming this weekend. But I'm sure Tracy will be telling us about that later.
I hate to tell you, it's more of a sleet that's on the way, Joe, but still it'll do. I will take it. It'll make everything look nice and bright.
No. I'm sorry. No, I just turn into an old woman when the pavement outside gets slippy. That's it. I'm holding on to everything, but then we're not going out anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. But how has your week been, boys and girls?
Yeah, good. I did my tree.
Yes.
I made some Christmas cards.
Oh, nice.
What else? That's basically it. It's been very eventful week.
I did have a conversation today with a friend of mine. We were sort of like, well, what's been happening? Nothing. What about with you? Nothing. And that seems to be pretty standard over the last few months, isn't it? Because we're not getting up to as much. But there is hope on the horizon, of course. There's all sorts of talk about vaccines, and hopefully, by come the springtime, we'll all be getting a little prick. And hopefully returning to some kind of normal, whatever that is, by summer next year. So fingers crossed.
Let's see.
We shall see. But yes, this evening we have a very special guest, Damir, coming from the Museum of Illusions. It is all a bit magical. We did have a little chat with him earlier while we were setting up during the sound check, and he gave us a little wander around the museum there. And yes, it's probably going to blow your mind a little bit. There's all kinds of funky things going on, so we're looking forward to hearing about that. We've got our usual segments coming up, of course, and there will be a little Christmas tinge later on in the show, because we have something very exciting to announce. Oh my God. All the children in the world, you need to be tuning in later because it is a very special announcement coming up later on.
Very serious, actually.
It is very serious, yes. So make sure you've got if you've got kids, well, it doesn't matter if you haven't got kids, you're going to want to hear this anyway because it's very important. Yes, and it's going to round off the year perfectly. This extremely horrible year that we've had. It's going to brighten things up somewhat for sure. So, but over here at Casa Moo, things have been going along very nicely with the renovation. We have walls down in the renovation.
Always handy.
I know, it's very exciting. Very exciting. Well, it's nice actually when you're sitting in the house and you're hearing all this banging and crashing and whirring and screaming and well, maybe not screaming, but there's been a lot of noise going on, and then you walk through the door and go, oh, that's why there was noise. Oh my goodness, how exciting! So yes. So and I've been taking lots of pictures and videos, so I'll be putting those all together in a few weeks. And yes, it's just all very exciting.
Fabulous.
Loving it.
I'm looking forward, Joe, to next year when we can all visit again and we can have a look at the new look.
Do you know what? I said to hubby yesterday that at some point when we are allowed to do it, I'm going to organise a cuddle party, which sounds a bit sinister, I know, but really, I think I just want to be hugging people again very soon, and I think it just would be nice if we could all get together and just have some big hugs. So I'm sure there'll be wine involved as well.
Oh, absolutely. If there's no wine, I'm not coming. So
I don't let anyone hug me unless there's wine involved.
Unless you have the wine. Wine is a must-do. Cheers, by the way. Chin chin.
Cheers.
Yes. I'm drinking this evening a red wine from the land of Bulgaria.
Oh, are you?
I know. So there you go. I shall post something about it shortly. Possibly tomorrow.
I'm going to endeavour in the next few years to do a bit more travelling around Eastern Europe. Actually, there's a lot of very interesting countries there, and we need to explore them.
Indeed, I really also want to. We almost got to Hungary last year, but we didn't, sadly. We were in Vienna, and Vienna is actually really close. You can actually get there in a couple of hours, but it also looks very interesting. I hear many great things about, for example, a Split in Croatia, supposed to be lovely.
I have been there.
Have you? There you go.
Yes, very nice.
There you are. I've never been to Prague, would you believe?
I have been there.
Oh, wow, Joe, you've got, honestly. But I would also like to go I would love to visit Russia one time. I really would love to see Moscow and St. Petersburg. That could be quite interesting as well. But I agree with you. There's a lot of Eastern Europe. I have been to Warsaw, which was a surprisingly beautiful city. And so modern and innovative. It was wonderful. But yes, I have a list so long now. You think Santa's list is a long list, but the list of places to visit once travel is allowed, it's insane. There's talk of South Korea.
Oh, aside. Oh,
yes.
Oh, well, that'll be interesting, actually. Yeah. And we've been watching some travel programs recently, just to sort of depress ourselves even more. But we've been adding a few more names to the list. And talking of adding names to the list, we've got Denis in the house. Hello, Denis. Al is with us. Al Mamun. I think I've hopefully said that correct. He says hi. Adina says she wants in on the cuddle party.
Oh.
Well, we like a little cuddle with Adina, so that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And Papa Uncle says hi as well. Hello.
Hello.
Lovely for you to be joining us. I just wanted to show you, we had a delivery today. These are obviously very, very traditional Sinterklaas chocolates that we got today. And I have to say this. I mean, I like chocolate, I really do. I have a problem with little figurines. Because when it comes to eating the head.
I go for the head first. Do you not do that?
I also go for the head first. Oh,
well,
Joe.
I think I do as well. I eat the head first, but when I do it, I always feel guilty.
I have this with Easter bunnies at Easter time. I always feel really guilty to eat the
Okay,
little
and
chocolate
which
bunnies.
part of the Easter bunny do you eat? Is it the ears? Is that the first?
Are we talking a giant? Yes, I would probably, if I had to, because once as a kid I had a chocolate Easter bunny and I didn't eat him at all. I just kept him and he started to slowly turn white and kind of disintegrate. But yes, I probably would go for the ear first and just work my way down to the little feet.
I normally just smash it up.
Brutal, Matthew, brutal.
But then you don't have to worry, it's just all broken up. You can just eat
True.
it.
Mm.
Yeah, that is brutal. There's some childhood demons there. Dina, I hope you're listening. Matt needs to have a chat with you. But maybe that's something that Dina could actually pursue. How do you eat your Easter bunny? That might tell you all kinds of things about the person and their childhood and stuff. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you those. Of course, it is the time for Sinterklaas, and normally there would be lots of parading and stuff around in the city, and there's not going to be very much of that this year. But everybody traditionally hands out those particular kinds of chocolates and the letters, don't they, Tracy?
Yes, they do hand out the chocolate letters. This is the first year I haven't purchased any chocolate letters at all. Normally I would send a big parcel over to Ireland, and it almost seemed more appropriate this year to do it, but I just didn't. I can't. I just don't want to go into the shops, into the city. I'm trying to do as much as I can online, and sometimes it's nicer to kind of pick out exactly the ones you want and avoid delivery charges and stuff. But the last couple of weekends in Maastricht, as you probably heard, Saturday, Sunday, there was code oranges and suddenly code reds in the city.
Yes.
During the week, it's not too bad, depending when you go. But honestly, in the weekend, it's insane. It's really busy. So, yeah.
Well, however, all of our friends and family are celebrating Sinterklaas this weekend. We hope you have a very, very happy time, and you get that chocolate, whatever form it comes in. And yes, go ahead, bite off the heads of Sinterklaas if you do. Don't feel guilty like me. Yeah, it all tastes the same.
Smash him. That's what you need to do. Don't have to worry about it.
Honestly.
Oh my God.
Okay,
He's so sweet and innocent, Joe, doesn't he? Matthew has dark side.
It's just occurred to me, you know why he's being this way? Because of the album that he's reviewed this week.
That's probably it, Joe.
I did say to you that it was a little bit more in your face, didn't I? So let's talk about that. We have an album review from Matt. On alternate weeks, Tracy and I give Matt an album to review from the archives, as it were, from history, introducing some new music to Matt. And last week, I picked out Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette, which for me was a very, very special album in the 90s that came along just when us girlies were feeling sort of like, you know what, world, up yours. And we have a voice and we have things to say. And it came across, for me, it came across very well in this album. So I handed it over to Matt and said, have a listen to this. And I seem to remember I said to you, sit down and listen to the lyrics. Mm-hmm. What did you think, Matt?
I think I know how Alanis eats her Easter bunny.
There you go. That's
she was very angry. She was very angry with Alanis.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't mind it. Liked it. I knew some of the songs.
Okay.
I was actually alive when this album came out, so that was a good start. So I think it came out in 98, right? Is it 96, 98, something like that?
Mid-90s for sure, yeah.
Mid-90s, yeah. So, so you listened to it, obviously it was some of the subject matter was a bit close to the mark, especially when she was talking about the Catholic Church and so on and so forth. How did that sit with you?
I thought it was interesting. I have this problem with songs that I can never fully concentrate and take in the meanings or the lyrics. I always just pick up the chorus or the tune. I just sort of lose my concentration. So that is my bad. I'm sorry, but it was very interesting. But she's a bit too angry for me, to be honest.
Okay.
I have to be in the right mood, and I can't remember what I was doing when I was listening to it. I think I was cooking, and I
Okay.
wasn't that angry.
Yeah, I don't think cooking's a good time to be listening to it. As I said, I think you need to sit down and really sort of get engrossed in the album, because there are stories within the lyrics as well, explaining why she feels the ways that she does. I think you really need to listen to that a bit more. But and she has mellowed as she's got older, as a lot of angry people do generally. So her latest stuff isn't quite so in your face. But would you say you would listen to her again, or is that no? I've done that. Move on.
I wouldn't go seeking her out, no.
Okay. All right then. Oh well, the big question is then, how many mats out of 10? Yeah,
I think I would give Alanis a 7.
Okay, that's cool. That's good. I'm happy with that. I know it's an acquired taste, and as I said, some of the lyrics there are a bit, but I think it's kind of its time as well. Actually,
True enough. Yeah, true.
I think so.
Yeah, many albums from that time are a bit, really, aren't they?
There was some changes going on. There was definitely some girl power changes happening, as it were. Okay, so 7 out of 10 for Jagged Little Pill. Tracy, what have you got?
Right, I've got some text to go with this, because I take this very seriously, as you know. Matthew, I'm also sending you back to the 90s, and I've chosen an album for you from 1995. Now, I'm going to mention 2 other bands, and Joe will then immediately know who we're talking about. Don't tell him, Joe. This is a chap. It's his actual 3rd solo album for this particular man. In 1998, this album was voted the 46th greatest album of all time, which isn't bad. Now, I love every song. I think it's a great album. I think he is uber cool. He's a solo artist now, but he used to sing in a band, perform in a band called The Jam.
Yes.
And also The Style Council.
Yes.
And the name of the album is Stanley Road. And this is coming from a street in Woking where this chap grew up. And I have chosen you an album from the fabulous Paul Weller. Here it is. Da, 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 da.
Very good. Very
so
good.
It's really, I love this one. It's very cool artwork. And apparently this artwork on the front is a collage that was created by the artist Peter Blake, who also designed the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper art album. So quite some interesting things. So Matthew, this one, it's quite interesting, because if you play the album, if you have the CD, all the songs, they don't kind of end, they kind of flow into the next one. It's very, very cool. He has choirs that sing with him. Some of them are very rocky. He also has some beautiful ballads, but he has this raw, gravelly voice, and just this, he's just a cool dude. Let's just say that. He's very cool. He's cool. I really think you might like this one. It's a little bit, it's not heavy, it's not soft, it's a little bit in between, but it's very lyrical, very melodic. And Joe was talking about listening to the lyrics. And okay, Matthew, try again this week. But there's stories, and there's a lot of emotion in the songs, I think, even in the heavier numbers on the track. So this is the one I've recommended for you, Stanley Road from Paul Weller.
Okay.
Excellent choice, Tracy. Excellent. So something I find interesting with Paul Weller also is that he has covered so many genres of music in his career as well. If you think back to the Jam of the 70s, where it was more sort of like a rocky ska kind of thing going on. And then into the Style Council, it was a lot softer. It was more poppy. And then when he went solo, he really has experimented with every kind of genre. Every album is completely different.
Very different. What also is so cool, I'm always in awe. He plays piano. He plays guitar. I mean, he's multi-talented, and just a very unique sound, Joe. I think you might agree.
Yes.
So I think you might like this one, Matthew. I'm going out on a limb Yeah.
No
that's
pressure,
it.
as usual.
No pressure. But this is again, it's like the Cooks from the previous week. This is an album that I personally listened to right through, and it's every song is a winner for me. So
Speaking of
give
the
us
Cooks,
yes.
Oh,
Ooh.
so I was talking to Jacob about this, and we couldn't
Oh.
decide, right, whether it's the Cooks or the Kooks, like I thought it was. And we were like, oh. So we looked it up, and apparently it's the Kooks.
yes, it is the Kooks. Yes.
Oh, it's quite funny because in one of their songs they say the cooks are out on the street, and then it's Cooks, but that's maybe just artistic license, perhaps.
Yes.
Apparently it's something to do with David Bowie and one of his songs or something.
Oh, I honestly
think
don't
about
know.
that. Yes.
I always thought it was something they were kooky, which is like unusual. The Kooks.
Okay.
But it depends if you're from the north of England, you say cook like kook.
Yes, that's
Kook.
true.
True.
Yes.
In a
Well, they're definitely
kook.
not cocky. They're
No.
kooky.
They're kooky. Right.
Excellent choice anyway, Tracy. So we look forward to hearing what Matt has to say about that next week. In the meantime, we've got Tracy coming up with the news soon. We have got Damir coming with us from the Museum of Illusion. But what is happening now? Look at Tracy. She's getting all zen-like. It is Zen time because it is time now to take a deep breath, relax, take our time to enjoy the peaceful aura around us because it is the 3rd of December and it is time for This Day in History. Oh, Lord, yes, it is.
Good job.
And yes, it is the 3rd of December. We are now at the end of the year. We shall be getting rid of December in a few weeks' time. But before we do that, there was all sorts happening in history on the 3rd of December. In 1689, it was the first recorded successful separation of conjoined twins, which was completed by Swiss surgeon Johannes Facio in Basel. Now, 1689. This was twins Elizabeth and Katharina Meyerin, I think it's pronounced. I can't imagine that it was that complex. Maybe they were just conjoined by their little finger or something, because in 1689, for this to be successful, they weren't extremely advanced in medicine then. So, yeah,
that's quite worrying. We don't know where they were joined, do we?
No. So I think even these days in modern times, there's a hell of a risk, of course, with conjoined twins. But hey, well done, Dr. Johannes Facio, for that. He did a marvellous job in 1689. Yeah. In 1828, Andrew Jackson was elected the 7th US president. And on the 3rd of December in 1864, not much was happening. It was a slow news day. They reported on a skirmish at Thomas Station in Georgia. That was the only thing that happened in the whole world on this day in 1864. A skirmish.
Ooh.
Fisticuffs, they probably would have said. In 1912, on this very day, Gerrit Brinkman becomes the first Dutch traffic warden.
Oh, okay.
1912. I can't imagine they needed one.
They had cars then, didn't they? 1912?
Yes,
or was it a horse and cart still?
No, they had cars, but I can't imagine there was that much to sort of
direct.
Odd, very odd. In 1926, the detective novelist Agatha Christie mysteriously disappears for 11 days. There's all kinds of stories about exactly what happened for those 11 days that she was missing. I don't think we actually know definitely what happened. In 1931, Alka-Seltzer goes on sale.
Hurrah!
Yes, hurrah!
I've never had an Alka-Seltzer.
Oh, bear with me a second. Just talk amongst yourselves. I've got to plug my PC in. It's going low. Hold on.
So, good Lord. So, Matthew, you've also never had an Alka-Seltzer then?
No. What is it, like the aspirin?
You put in that bubble up in the water. Are you all right, dear?
That was very professional, wasn't it?
No one noticed, Joe. And Matt and I covered it like the professionals we are.
Yes.
I just had a big notice come up on my screen saying, plug your PC in, love. Oh, all right. I obviously forgot to do that. In 1948, on this very day, the first US woman army officer was sworn in to the army. And in 1961, Dutchman Anton Gezink becomes the first non-Japanese judo world champion.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It is interesting. It is. Have you ever fancied a bit of judo, Matt?
Sometimes.
Well, with your aggressive chocolate bunny action, it might suit you.
Very professionally then, couldn't it? Yeah.
Oh, he's got some moves there. He's definitely got some moves. Okay. Yes.
It's wax on, wax off, side to side. Mr. Miyagi.
Scaring the bejesus out of me there, Matt, for sure. In 1961, on this very day, the Beatles meet their future manager, Brian Epstein. And in 1966, the television pop group, a favourite of ours, the Monkees, make their live concert debut at the Honolulu International Center Arena, Hawaii. We love the Monkees on the Maastricht.
I am so recommending a Monkees album for my next turn.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Matthew, they're fabulous.
They are fabulous, it's true. In 1967, on this very day, the first human heart transplant was performed in South Africa by Dr. Christian Barnard on Louis Washkansky.
Okay.
Yes. Louis Washkansky. That was the guy who had the heart transplant. Well, good luck to him. Also that same year, an assassination attempt was made on Bob Marley and others during concert rehearsals in Jamaica.
Crumbs.
I can give you a spoiler. He was okay.
Yeah, he was okay. And
he carried on for a few more years.
Oddly enough, I learned that Bob Marley died because of his religion. Is this true? That he had a damaged foot or something, and that because of his religious beliefs, he wouldn't accept an operation or a blood transfusion or something, and he died.
Oh, I'm not aware of the religion thing. I know that there was an old injury that continued and eventually led to his death, but I wasn't aware of the religious impact there. So you may well be right. You may well be right. Now, here's something I didn't know. In 1969, on this very day, John Lennon was offered the role of Jesus Christ in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Wow.
Yes, I didn't know that. Maybe because at the time he had this beard and the hair and everybody.
No one's offered me the part.
Well,
but Matthew would be a fabulous.
Yeah, no one's offered me the part at all.
But in particular, in 1967, everybody looked like JC because even the women had hair and beards going on in that day. So yeah, it was very fashionable. Now, in 1979, Christie's, the auction house, auctioned a thimble for a record $18,400. Get that right, get your teeth in. Now, for those people out there who maybe don't know what a thimble is, this is a little silver, it's like a mini bucket, if you will. It hooks onto the end of your finger. This is what you use to stop yourself pricking yourself with a needle when you're sewing. And I actually have a good friend of mine who collects thimbles, but she hasn't paid $18,400 for one. I can tell you that. That's ridiculous.
It's so small.
It is. It's extremely small. Now, here's something that's very dear to my heart. On this day in 1985, Do They Know It's Christmas? The single was, which was written by Bob Geldof and Major, was sung by Band Aid at its release in the UK. Wow. That is just one of those songs for me that takes me right back to 1984. It was such a big deal, Do They Know It's Christmas? And it's still a firm favourite of mine. In 1989, on this very day, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev and US President George H.W. Bush declared the Cold War is over. And finally, on this very day in 2017, the first pizza party in space is held by astronauts at the International Space Station.
Wow. Pizza party. Wow.
I don't think they had them delivered.
No. I don't think Domino's go that far. So talk about being out of your code.
You know, like you pull the cheese, and it
Yeah.
would it just going? Like, how would it?
You pose it
That's
in
interesting
true
thought.
question, Matthew.
Like, does
Yes.
it lose its elasticity, or does it like just go really slow?
Oh, now I feel like pizza.
That's very good. Yes.
Mm.
I'm thinking about that now. The cheese. It's. Oh, we need to get Captain Tim Peake on the show. Have a chat with him. So yes. So the first pizza party. I like it. I like it a lot. Birthdays. So in 1927, a firm favourite of mine, Andy Williams, was born. He actually, for me, made the best Christmas album ever.
It's
just
the
saying.
most wonderful time of the year.
I'm just like him. Absolutely brilliant.
I was doing my low voice.
1948, on this very day, Ozzy Osbourne, the English heavy metal vocalist and songwriter from Black Sabbath, was born in Birmingham in England. And in 1960, Julianne Moore, the American actress from Fayetteville in North Carolina. Fayetteville or Fayetteville? I'm not sure.
Fayette?
Well, it was in North Carolina. It's her birthday today. And there's somebody else that I need to mention as well. There's a birthday coming up now. Hold on. It's somebody I know well. I believe possibly maybe about 25 years ago, Mrs. Taylor's waters broke and then things started happening, and a few hours later, on the 4th of December, possibly a little Tracy was born. Our lovely little Tracy is going to be having her birthday tomorrow. So we want to wish you happy birthday tomorrow, Tracy.
Thank you, darlings.
And anybody else who's celebrating a birthday this week, hope you have a very nice day, whatever it is that you are doing. Tracy, do you have any plans?
I have the day off work.
Oh.
So I am going to sleep without the alarm tonight, and there's some talk of some sort of bubbles with breakfast in the morning, and I think the weather is supposed to be a little brighter tomorrow, so I might get out and do a little bit of a stroll with my camera, and yeah, just very low key. I'm going to watch a favourite movie and catch up on some bits and bobs. So just have a day off and kind of chill out.
Lovely. Well, there you go. That was This Day in History. And it may be your birthday tomorrow, Tracy. But I'm sorry, you've got to do some work now.
I know. Oh, boo.
You got to tell us what's happening in the world. And also, I believe there might be a little special announcement amongst all this.
I know. Let's see how this goes. This is our first effort into sort of technology merging with the news. So this should be hilarious.
It's time for Tracy Taylor and the news. Tracy Taylor and the news.
Thank you, Joe, and good evening, everyone. It's December 3rd, and you're watching the Maastricht edition. First, a look at your weekend weather, and it's going to be pretty chilly over the coming days, with highs of 5 during the day and temperatures dipping below freezing at night. It will stay dry, however, with the chance of some bright spells. And on Sunday, there is a chance that we may see some sleet. Moving to your news bulletin for tonight. Around 150 fireworks sellers who belong to the Foundation for Consumer Fireworks Dealers are going to court to fight the government's decision to ban the sale and lighting of fireworks this New Year's. The Dutch government announced these measures on November 13th in an effort to prevent further pressure on the healthcare system, which is already overburdened with the coronavirus. The World Health Organization does not recommend countries issuing immunity passports for those who have recovered from COVID-19, but is instead investigating the prospect of using e-vaccination certificates. And governments across Europe are trying to navigate between avoiding the spread of the coronavirus over the Christmas holiday season and allowing people to celebrate with family and friends. More to come there. The Dutch government has announced a ban on the sale of cigarettes and tobacco products in all supermarkets in the Netherlands. The ban will come into effect in 2024. This announcement is the latest in a string of decisions made by the government in an attempt to deter smoking. And the lower house of Dutch Parliament unanimously approved a proposal to accelerate the ban on mink farming in the Netherlands. The parliamentarians worry that this type of fur farming poses a risk to public health, as the coronavirus can be transmitted between humans and minks. The ban is due to come into effect in spring 2021. In other news, and especially for Matt, pictures have emerged of a sheep wandering into a hotel in Wales, which was spotted roaming outside the hotel lift. The sheep, nicknamed Sydney by staff, was ushered back outside after it let itself into the Premier Inn Hotel in Holyhead. Moving to local news, and it looks like Maastricht's residents will have to pay more for drinking water next year, with the average household paying €1.67 more per month. And the American cemetery in Margraten has reopened to visitors as of today. At the beginning of November, the cemetery closed its doors for the second time this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. And work will be carried out in the coming month to make an area in Weilen safer for the dormouse. The edge of the forest is going to be widened along the length of a particular stretch of road. The dormouse is unique to South Limburg and the only place in the Netherlands where these little creatures are found. And finally tonight, we would like to share a video message from the Irish Minister for Foreign Affairs in relation to Santa Claus. Although the message refers to Irish airspace, we are sure this important message applies to all of Europe.
As Minister for Foreign Affairs, we've been working on the Santa Claus issue for a number of weeks now. And it's important to say to all children in the country that we regard Santa Claus's travels as essential travel for essential purposes, and therefore he is exempt from the need to self-quarantine for 14 days and should be able to come in and out of Irish airspace and indeed in and out of Irish homes without having to restrict his movement. But I am assured that children should not stay up at night because he does need to social distance. And so people need to keep at least 2 metres away at all stages to make sure that we keep him safe and indeed children as well. So he's exempt, he's coming, he's confirmed that, and he appreciates the fact that Ireland has ensured that in a very, very different Christmas in 2020, the visit of Santa Claus will be something that will remain consistent.
Well done, Simon. And that's it for tonight. For more local news, you can follow RTV News in English on Facebook and Instagram. If you are a local business, be sure to check out the Support Your Local Business South Limburg Facebook page, a joint initiative between #Maastricht and the Maastricht Edition. And if you want to discover events, concerts and cultural activities going on in Maastricht and the surrounding areas, head on over to the website of our partner, maastrichter.com, to check out their awesome calendar of events. You can also follow them on social media. And don't forget that you can always find us on the Maastricht Edition Facebook page, on our YouTube channel, on Redbubble and on Instagram. For all the details, check out the maastrichtedition.nl.
Lovely stuff, Tracy. And what a fabulous message.
I know.
Oh my goodness. I mean, as you say, I know they're talking about Irish airspace there, but we know that Santa, of course, goes everywhere in one night on the 24th. So, yes, that's going to apply to all the children everywhere. So that's brilliant news.
It's
very,
great.
very good.
Yes, and I think it was good time that he shared this information with us all, because people were starting to get a little bit concerned. So, and some good security advice is in there as well about keeping distances and everything else. So it's all good news.
Excellent. Yes. Well, we need this. So if any of the kids out there are planning on staying up, just in case, remember, wear your mask. Just for Santa, because he's going to be going around seeing an awful lot of people in one night. We don't want him spreading any diseases, of course. So yes, get your mask. Sorry, Matt?
It's magical.
He is magical. He is.
So sure,
but
it's like virus repellent or something.
You'd like to think so, wouldn't you? You'd like to
Though
think
he
so.
is an old man as well. So.
Well, I'm sure the elves have created something for him, a kind of safety bubble, as it were, maybe a spray that he can take on the go. So, but yes, but still, it's very good news. I'm also excited.
Yes, so he's in a bubble with Rudolph. Well, speaking of magical, we are going to be having our guest joining us very shortly. We've just given him a call. Hopefully, he's going to appear very shortly. He's going to be, this is Damir, who's going to be talking about the Museum of Illusions. Of course, this doesn't involve actually sawing him in half or being in a straight
We haven't asked him yet.
Maybe it does.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe. We don't want any sawing in half on the show, that's for sure.
Guys, do we not vet our guests anymore? Oh, no. Oh, goodness me.
I've been to a few magic shows, and that is one of those tricks that I'm always quite fascinated by. I really am, because you think you can work actually how it's always a little girl, isn't it? Some little girl that gets sawed in half. You think you can actually work out how they do it when they cut them in and separate them, but I'm still sort of like, I don't know.
The real thing that's actually happening. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Matt's a believer, Joe, you see.
Yeah, he is a believer. We're just trying to get hold of Damir now. Hopefully, please pick up the phone, Damir. We keep calling him. I'm hoping he is going to join us very shortly.
I can tell one of my jokes while we're waiting.
Oh, please do.
Actually, it ties into something I learned that I didn't know. Apparently, in Maastricht, there are more beavers compared with previous years, and apparently 69 beavers have been spotted in Maastricht in 2020, and last year it was only 65. So it seems the beaver feels very at home in nature reserves in the Netherlands.
Oh, okay.
And I have a joke to go with this fact.
Go on.
What did
already laughing.
What did the beaver say to the tree?
Go on.
Yum.
It's been nice knowing you.
Oh no.
Nice knowing you.
Yes. Oh, rumor has it we've got Damir here. It looks like it's come through. He's probably laughing so much from your joke, darling, that there he is.
There he is.
Welcome to the Maastricht edition.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, lovely to see you. Now, you are sitting, although it's a little bit blurry behind you, but apparently you are sitting actually in the Museum of Illusions, which is in Maastricht. But before we talk about the actual museum itself, let's find out about you, because your accent says to me that you're not a local.
I'm not a local. No, I'm not a local. I'm actually originally Croatian, just as a concept. So I'm coming from Zagreb, live in Amsterdam. Well, actually, first we moved to the Netherlands 20 years ago, something. Then we moved to Paris for a while professionally, and then went back to Croatia. And in 2010, we came back to the Netherlands, settled in Amsterdam. And since 2 years, I've been looking for an opportunity to open a Museum of Illusions in the Netherlands. And finally, this year, despite, I would say, COVID, we managed to open one here in Maastricht. That's the first one in Benelux. Yeah.
Wow, impressive.
We're always impressed when we hear this. There's been a few businesses that have come on the show who have started this year, and we are very, very, very impressed with the idea of opening in such tough times and doing so well. But I have to ask you, why illusions? What is the connection with you and illusions? Are you actually a magician?
No, I'm not a magician. I'm not an illusionist. I'm not. Actually, I was a management consultant, so maybe somebody will make a joke about illusions.
Okay, yeah.
Of course.
I'm honest.
No.
If anybody's going to come up with a joke, it'll be Tracy.
I don't know how to solve any tricks, how to do any tricks. I know to solve some of the puzzles, which I learned here in the museum, but for the rest, nothing to do with illusions, except the being impressed by them, by the fact that you actually, you look at something and it comes differently across. It puzzles you a bit why it's happening, why you see something with your eyes and then your brain interprets it differently. And actually, to be honest, it's a concept I came across because friends of mine have opened it first in Croatia 5 years ago. And since then, it's basically the fastest moving museum concept in the world. There are 25 locations, 24 actually at the moment, one to be open soon. We were number 21. And as you said, those were tough times. Taking into account the lockdown we had here and everything, I can tell you, combination of lockdown and construction works, it's not an illusion. It's a really tough one. And yeah, we opened eventually in August, quite late. Initial plans were to open before the King's Day, as the king and his family were supposed to come over to Maastricht. That was the idea. It didn't work out. We had to delay it. We were hoping to open it before school holidays and vacation in the summer. It didn't work out, but we did manage to open it begin August. And since then, we are running here in Mosa Forum in the center of Maastricht. And it's going well. Lately, a bit less because of COVID. We hope that December will pick up, not probably as expected initially with the Magic Maastricht and everything. So we have to survive a couple of months, and then we hope that tourists will come back and the locals will also dare to do more.
Fingers crossed. And what can you tell us a bit about the concept? So what is the concept of the museum? What can people expect if they come visit?
So first of all, it's a fixed exhibition. It's not a temporary, it's not a pop-up. So we plan to stay here. We signed the contract ambitiously for 10 years. Well, the first year we'll just we'll survive. We're running okay, but so we stay here for a long time. We want to become an attraction here in Maastricht for locals, for people from the neighborhood, from the region, let's say, and also for the visitors from outside the world. It's basically an exhibition, a collection of exhibits based on optical illusions. And the guys in Zagreb have developed a concept which basically puts together all the different things based on illusion. It's not really what you see is what you get. And we want to entertain people, of course, to make them enjoy the time in the museum. But also we want to teach them that not everything is what it seems to be or it looks like to be. Especially the school kids, which is our focus also here in Maastricht. We work with primary schools and secondary schools, and we want to teach them that basically, indirectly, we want to teach them that you have to accept the fact that other people might see it differently than you do, and that's the main message. For the rest, I mean, there are more than 50 exhibits based on optical illusions. We play with different principles of a depth. We play with depth in terms of we're not able to properly see the depth in the space, human beings. So that kind of triggers a disconnection between your eyes and brain, but also on some other principles, the Gestalt principles, which are basically the ones that are also used in arts. For example, Escher has played with it a lot in his works. And also some other major painters.
Escher does my head in, definitely. That's one of those I'll just watch for literally like 10 seconds and go, no, I'm done. That's it. I'm out of here.
No stimulation.
Could you maybe, because obviously you're in the museum at the moment, is it possible for you to have a wander around there and give us a glimpse of actually what you've got going on? I don't know with your blurry background whether we're going to be able to see so much actually, unfortunately.
What I'll do is I'll just change it for a sec.
That's one of the things with video calling. Sometimes we get a bit of a blurry black background effect. Now,
it's pretty blurry. Just a sec.
Now it looks like my glasses are steamed up.
There we go.
That's better. There we go. That's better.
Okay. Now
so what are we looking at?
Now it's better. So what I'm looking here is a kaleidoscope. Well, I would need a second person to basically show you how it works, because if I place something in there, then you see it in a lot of different positions. So I put this object in. Then you have the infinity room, in which you enter, and then you'll see many of Damirs all around.
I've had a flashback to Trini thingy, what not to wear. It's like that circular room where they all stood together. Wow, no room for hiding.
This one is head on a plate, where you put your head, you stick your head out, and then you take a nice photo of it.
Instagram photo, guys. We gotta go.
Exactly. This one is fantastic. I mean, I think you can see it on the video that it's basically there are cubicles. When I get closer, you see that there is nothing. There's just an empty space. So it's perfectly. It's really amazingly done. But then you have. I probably will get some noise now, because I'm going to enter here are some holograms and the color room where you can play with colors. And then here is the vortex tunnel, so you start spinning around.
I wish I had a glass of wine.
I'm just going to get a bucket now.
Hang in there, Joe.
Actually, if you come in, you really feel like you sometimes very dizzy. And then there is the famous Ames room, which when you stand in, one person appears to be longer and the other shorter.
Oh, I love those rooms.
Freaky. Yeah. Oh, I could be tall for once.
You could be tall for once. You could be tall. You would more than welcome. And then you can swap places. You can have a look at the chair over here. I'll show you.
Oh, yes. Lovely.
So that's it. I mean, these are the exhibition. There's exhibits in our room. There are also games you can play with.
It looks very engaging, Damir. Tell us, what sort of reaction are you getting from the kids who are coming to visit? I bet they love it.
Well, first of all, it's not only kids. We were thinking also that the major. Sorry, I'll just change the. So it's not only kids that are coming. Funnily enough, everybody thinks that it's a kids' museum. Actually, people of all ages are coming, and it's interesting for all of them. I mean, it doesn't discriminate on the basis of age or anything else. Everybody sees illusions, and everybody has fun. What we try to do is we try to give a lot of explanation, as I mentioned before, especially to the kids from primary school age and secondary school. So what we do is basically we give them a short explanation with highlights, which I've shown you now, and we explain what's the logic behind, what's happening actually with the brain, how brain gets tricked. But also, elderly people like it, they enjoy it, and everybody leaves with a smile on their face. They really love it.
Well, I can tell you, oh goodness, sorry, somebody's trying to call me. Let me just get rid of them. Sorry about that.
You're having a cracker of a night, Joe.
I can tell you, actually, as a menopausal woman, you should have a menopause room, because it's tricks with you constantly for about 15 years. So you might want to consider that.
But is it an illusion or something? No.
Ooh.
But listen, if you want to come and see you, where exactly in the Mosaic Forum are you?
We're just opposite the elevator. If you're coming out, actually, I mean, to put it briefly, we are below the city hall offices. So the illusion is down here, and up there is the city administration. So when you walk from the marked direction, the river, then it's basically on the right side.
Okay, awesome.
And it's actually a big space. You typically spend about 1 hour and a half wandering around, and it's fun, especially with kids, of course, but also with other people of all ages. So it's really cool. You're more than welcome.
The amount of people that can enter at any one time.
Sorry?
Are there restrictions on how many people can actually be in there at any one time?
At the moment, yes, it's 30 people maximum.
Okay.
We are happy to have it, because 2 weeks ago we were locked down. We hope things will go better, of course. And It's 30 people at the moment, and well, it is a restriction. We have, now the masks are mandatory,
Yes.
so everybody has to wear the masks.
People have to book online, do they?
They have to book online, exactly, and then we control the crowd and number of visitors.
Oh, that's a good idea. So you can kind of book maybe a time frame when you want to come by and so on. Okay, awesome.
We have a time slots of 20 minutes. We've limited quite, of course there is a calculation model behind, but we limit it so we don't have any more people than 30.
Brilliant. Well,
Sounds great.
it's a place. I can't wait to come and have a look. I know all of us here at the Maastricht edition will pop in when we can. Good luck with this. I think it sounds like it's got legs for sure. It's nice to have something new in the city, something a little bit interesting, something that makes you think. So that's
it's definitely something different in a city. I mean, something new. So we're
going to put all your details onto our social media. Thank you so much for joining us. And next time you've got something exciting and new that's happening in the museum, do come on and share it with us.
Okay, I will do. You're more than welcome. Look forward to seeing you.
Brilliant.
Thank you, Damir.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a lovely guy.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking all during that conversation? I think it's so cool that the only Museum of Illusions is in Maastricht. It's in Benelux, so it could have easily gone up north, like many things are always up north, but it's here in the south of the country. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah,
Yes,
He's a good ambassador. So
yes.
yes.
He is. I tell you who else is a good ambassador, Tracy, is our Matt.
Well, Joe, we're a bit biased, but he is.
He is. He's a little hairy ambassador.
Amen.
And he's an ambassador for history. And I think it's time for Matt Goes Dutch.
It is.
Yeah.
Exciting.
So, I'm going to... What's the word? I'm going to leave the script tonight. I was originally going to go with my post I talked about on Monday. But as it's Sinterklaas this weekend, I thought we could talk a bit about the background of Sinterklaas and what you can expect. If you've not been here in December before, you might be thinking, what on earth is going on? Why is everyone making a big fuss about this weekend instead of Christmas, which is in 3 weeks?
Okay.
So I had a bit of a chat with Lucy from Meet Maastricht, and she's given me some top tips to share with you, to tell you about what's going to be going on.
Excellent.
So we're going to start quickly with the historical background, because, that's my thing. So if you've not been in the Netherlands before, or if you've not stayed during the Christmas time, Sinterklaas happens on the 5th of December. So Sinterklaas and the Zwarte Pieter, they come on the evening of the 5th. And then on the 6th, the children receive some gifts. So the tradition of Sinterklaas is not Santa Claus, different person.
Yes.
They look quite similar, but they're not the same.
That's what he looks like. He's a kind of tall, long, skinny version of Santa Claus, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, this Sinterklaas, the history of him goes back to like Scandinavian and Germanic sky gods, who were Christianized in the early, 4th century, something like that, and they became bishops, dressed as bishops, and then it made sense because bishops can fly across the sky and deliver presents. That makes sense. And then he sort of merged with Saint Nicholas, and Saint Nicholas is from Turkey in the 4th century, and he was known for reviving children who'd been murdered, and providing dowries for poor girls, and freeing African slaves. So he was a really good guy in the 4th century, and that's sort of like that myth of Sinterklaas, of Saint Nicholas and Sinterklaas sort of merged, became the tradition that we know today. So the current story that we have in the Netherlands comes from a story written by a teacher in the 19th century. And this is where this idea of Sinterklaas coming from Spain on a steamboat with a white horse called, anyone know?
I know, and I forgot.
Not John, no.
Betty.
It's Amerigo. Amerigo is the white horse. That's a good pub quiz knowledge question. There you go.
It is.
So it's a bit confusing, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. So there's lots of different traditions related to the Sinterklaas. And the Zwarte Pieter, traditionally his servants, his helpers, and they're dressed as 16th century courtiers. And they think that the relation between Sinterklaas and the Zwarte Piet is to to do with this link to St. Nicholas, who freed African slaves So the tradition came sort of related, and that's the story we had today. But of course, it's very controversial today, and there's lots of for and against Zwarte Piet. I'm not going to go into that here because it's a big thing. And if you want to know more, just Google it. You will find it quite easily. But if you do see the protests and things going on in the city, that's what it's all about. The background there and whether we should continue with it. But what actually happens on the 5th? Well, children put their shoes in front of the fire, traditionally. But if you don't have a fire, then you put them on the radiator. And in the shoes, you put a present for a merry-go. So what do horses like to eat? Carrots. Hay, I don't know, an apple maybe. So you put that in the shoe, and you put it on the fireplace or on the radiator. And then in the evening of the 5th, that suddenly magically disappears because the Zwarte Piet come down the chimney. That's why they're covered in soot. And then they collect the present for the horse and swap it for a little present for the child or some sweets. And it's normally mice or frogs. Exactly, there you go. Or other types of peppermint and that sort of thing. And of course, a chocolate letter with your first name. So I get an M, Tracy get a T, Joe a J, etc. But if you're not a child, you might be thinking, well, this is not really relevant to me. I don't have any children. But if you're an adult, you celebrate Pakjesavond. So on the night of the 5th, you get together with your friends or your family, and you give each other gifts anonymously. So it's a bit like Secret Santa if you celebrate that. But you have to create a very clever and witty and possibly cruel poem to go with your gift. And I think the poem helps you either guess what it is or who it's for. It's all in good cheer, of course, but it's like, that banter between friends. It's a very Dutch tradition. And the present is also sort of wrapped in a very creative and strange way. Maybe it's like wrapped in 20 layers of newspaper, so it looks huge, and then you actually open it and it's like a tiny thing or something like that.
A thimble.
Exactly. There you go. But apparently this is now going out of fashion, and lots of people, if they are adults and they don't have children, are celebrating Christmas Day on the 25th instead, so that's when they give presents. So that's a short introduction to Sinterklaas and what's going to be going on this weekend. If you want to find out more, you can check out Meet Maastricht's page. They have lots of information going on this weekend. And you can always Google it, of course.
Excellent.
Very interesting.
Nice one, Matt. Of course, the common denominator here between Sinterklaas and Christmas Day is chocolate.
Yes.
There is a lot of chocolate,
Yes.
so we're all for it. Anything that involves chocolate, you will find the team of TME at the front of the queue. So, yes, we're all for it. We're all for it. Nice one, Matt. Well, that was very informative. So anybody out there who's only recently joined us here in Maastricht, you've just learned a little bit more about the cultural side of living in the Netherlands. Now, we're running out of time. We're coming towards the end of the show. Before we disappear, Tracy, do you have some titty bitties for us?
I have one titty bitty for you, but it's a really good one. I am delighted to be able to bring you guys a segment of weekly event highlights, courtesy of our friends, #Maastricht. And these are the folks in the know for lifestyle tips and fun in the city. And this is really, really cool. Now, there's a little place called Gronsveld, which is very, very close to Maastricht. And there is a new place there called the Taverne Charmant, which sounds very charming, doesn't it? And what's very cool and very in at the moment is all the food in this restaurant is vegan. But they serve things like, vegan zoomerflies and, if like really random things that you would normally not expect to get. But they're very cool. Now, because of coronavirus, of course, they're only serving takeaway dishes or kind of delivery. So I think you can bring the takeout, can be brought to your home where you can kind of pick it up. So there are two options. But they also have a little store next to the restaurant, which is called the Charming Deli. And so if you want to have a Google, they're on Instagram, they've got Facebook, and they've got a website. You can check out, what they have, what you can potentially buy, what you can order in, and you can contact them on any of their social media channels and give them some support and indeed go vegan, which is, a good thing.
Excellent stuff. Yes, well, vegan is the word.
It is. It's no longer Greece.
It's not Greece. Greece was the word, but vegan is the word, and it's the word that you heard. So it's all going down.
Well done,
Practicing
Jay.
your rhymes. Well done.
I
There you go.
can't believe I just said that, honestly. That is so bad.
You should be ashamed, woman.
I can only apologise. But we have come to the end of the show. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you to Damir from the Museum of Illusions. Go and check it out. Go and have a look. Tell us what you think about the place. We'd love to hear. It all looks really, really interesting. We shall be back next week. I think probably next week we're going to be a little bit more festive. We've got a tree going on here. We've got Sinterklaas happening over here, and Tracy's got baubles and hat and all sorts. But I think as the weeks progress, there'll be more festiveness going on. So we look forward to seeing you next week. I can't for the life of me remember who the guest is.
Joined by the lovely Adina.
It's Adina. Yes, Adina's going to be in the house next week, and Robert de Koning, of course.
The king of
two of our most favourite people here on the Maastricht edition. So we shall be seeing you next week with them. Have a lovely week, and one final happy birthday to our Tracy for tomorrow. Have a lovely day tomorrow. We hope you celebrate it in style. I'm sure you will.
Thank you,
and for everybody else, we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us. Good night. Bye.
Ho, ho, ho.